Welcome back to Just One Question, and I am thrilled to be able to introduce to you today my new best friend, Patrick Mork. He's a Belgian-American entrepreneur who's lived in at least 11 countries. Is that right? Did I get that right? Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
Spent over 25 years in various marketing leadership roles in a bunch of high-profile technology startups and at Google. He decided to focus full-time on becoming an executive coach for entrepreneurial companies and executives in 2017. His new book is Step Back and Leap, and it's not your typical self-help book, but rather a relatable and engaging account of one person's journey towards a more fulfilling life. Welcome, Patrick. How the heck are you?
I am awesome. I am very good. Thank you. It's great to be here.
Good. All right. Thanks for joining us. So, got just one question for you, and maybe a follow-up, but no guarantees. And that question is: both of us, it turns out, have lived and worked in the technology world, and of course, technology continues to take these amazing leaps forward, and AI is just the latest of that. But in the world of executive coaching, where you're helping people make big life choices and changes and to grapple with sort of the big issues of leadership as well as personal growth and development, what role, if any, does AI and technology in general have to play in that? Can technology really help us with these big human choices that we have to make from time to time?
Look, it's a great question, and definitely when you look at what's happening with with AI and ChatGPT and Auto GPT and everything else, I think technology definitely has a huge role to play.
Hmm.
Executive coaching is an interesting space because for it to be effective, it really requires a lot of trust. What I find with clients and what I had with my own coach when I lost my job in 2017 and I was completely lost trying to figure out what I was going to do is, when you meet the right human being, right, the right person, for the coaching to really be effective, you have to have a high degree of trust. You have to realize that, the person is there to help you. The person is there to ask you difficult questions, to make you see different perspectives, which will open different doors in terms of what the possibilities are for you to take your life forward. Coaching is very different from, seeing a shrink in the sense that people often get the two confused. And what I always tell people is, seeing a shrink is past to present, whereas seeing a coach is present to future, right? Coaching is really about what do I want and how do I get there?
Yeah.
Right now, getting back to your question, I think I view technology as an enabler. I don't think that, we're going to have, AI kind of replacing coaches anytime soon, at least in terms of, the depth to which we go. But I think technology is there as an enabler, whether it's, scheduling tools, whether it's using the technology what we're using now to kind of have this video conference. And when you look at artificial intelligence, I think what's becoming interesting is, you can go into ChatGPT and you can say, I'm struggling managing my team. I seem to be having some communication issues. Give me 5 tools that, will improve my verbal communication with my team members. And it will give you a list of options, right? So, that's one of the many things that you can do, I think, now more easily. Before, you could obviously run a Google search, but, you were going to get plagued with ads and you were going to have, lots more scrolling, and it wasn't always obvious what you were going to get. Now, it doesn't mean that AI is perfect, because at the end of the day, AI is really about giving you great content, but it's filtered and curated by somebody. So the answer may or may not always be right, which is something I think we've all discovered as we've been using these tools. So I think, in terms of technology, I think it will augment the coaching process. I think it will give us more tools to choose from to make life changes. I think it will give us more variety of the tools to choose from and finding a tool that's right for us. And I think it's going to bring, the idea of executive coaching or even life coaching to many more people. I think, today there's a perception, particularly if you leave the United States and you look at South America where I live, when you go in and you talk to an executive at a big company, and they tell the executive you're going to need coaching, often people think, well, what's wrong with me?
Right.
What have I done? Who did I hurt? Who did I insult? And coaching isn't really about that. Coaching is really about, being the best version of yourself. It's about helping you identify, gaps in your ability to lead or be a good human being, and about providing the tools to close those gaps if that's what you want. It's about challenging you to see new perspectives. It's about being an accountability partner to make sure that you take the steps that you need to get to the destination that you want to get to. And so technology can have a role in all of those to help us, right? Technology can give us new perspectives by giving us tools or different answers to questions where, we might not have seen that kind of a response as something that was possible. It might give us tools that we had never considered. It might give us tools that are more convenient, more practical. And it can act as a accountability partner in certain cases if we use it properly, right? So, there's a lot of different ways that it can support the coaching process. There's a lot of different ways that it can help us achieve what we want. But I think fundamentally the two things that technology is maybe less good at doing is you're not going to have a degree of trust with a machine,
right?
Anytime soon, right? You're not going to sit in front of your computer and say, I had a horrible day in the office. I had this argument with my coworker. This is what they said. I felt like this. How should I handle that, right? It can't yet go to that depth of understanding feeling and then give you a nuanced answer based on what the actual circumstance was, whereas a coach can do that, right? So there's limitations to what it can do, but I think that it can help us a lot. And it can also provide a lot of answers and tools to people who can never afford coaching, right? Because the reality is, executive coaching isn't cheap for most people, right? In the same way that seeing a shrink isn't cheap.
Right. Love it. And I can't resist one follow-up question. And it's all your fault because your answer was
absolutely
highly stimulating and interesting. So how do I step back and leap?
Look, that's a very good question. I think what I was trying to get at with the book is when most people think of making a meaningful change in their life, whether that is career change, that is, I want to lose 20 pounds and get fit, that is, I want to stop smoking, that is, I absolutely hate my partner, we need to split and go our own ways. Most people think that they have to do it immediately, or they are so afraid that they don't do it at all. Right? And if you look at stress in our society, a big part of stress comes from the fact that we don't take action. And we know that we need to take action. And so the fact that we're stuck in neutral and not doing anything stresses us out. So step back and leap. What I tried to do with the book was, on the one hand, share a lot of the stories that I've been through and a lot of the challenges that I've been through, not because I think I'm unique or special, just because I think people will relate to a lot of it and they will understand how I dealt with that, right? And the second thing I tried to do is provide, actionable, useful exercises that anybody can do, regardless of how educated they are or not, or their ethnic background or religious background or level of experience, and help them move forward. And the idea behind Step Back and Leap is that sometimes when you want to make a large jump, a large change in your life, you have to do two things. First, you have to kind of step back and really understand yourself deeply. I think, when I talk to people and they come to me and they're like, I want to make a meaningful change, and I ask them why, they don't necessarily know the answer. Or when I ask them, well, who are you? What kind of person do you want to become? They don't necessarily know the answer. So when you step back, that means that you're really looking deeply into yourself and getting to know yourself better, right? It's like, okay, I know that these are the things that give me energy, right? I know that these are the things that drain me from energy. I know that this is my personality type, and therefore I like these kind of situations, or I like these kind of sports, or I like these kind of activities. I hate this other kind of stuff. Right. So to the extent that we know ourselves better, the extent that we're willing to step back and look at ourselves, it makes it a lot easier for us to then move forward, which is, of course, the second part of the book, which is once you've been through that introspection, once you've figured out your values, you figured out your purpose, and you've asked yourself these questions, then you need to take action. Because as Tony Robbins once said, Without massive action, there's no result. So
Mm.
you need to take action. And so the rest of the book is, okay, how do I do that? Right? How do I surround myself by people who will hold me accountable? How do I ask for help? How do I use powerful questions to get people to actually tell me the truth? How do I actually manage my energy so that I can keep going day after day when times get tough? So it's a process, introspection, taking action.
Fantastic. And we could talk a lot longer, but it was just one question. I asked two. You gave me two great answers. Patrick Mork, thank you so much for being on Just One and a Bit Question. It's great to get a chance to chat. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Nick. It was great meeting you, and I really enjoy your content. It's awesome.